Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now the middle of February of 2024, and given that Disney and all of its divisions are really heading into a downward spiral, I mean they already have been, let's be honest about that, but it's only getting worse with each and every month that passes by. It's not looking good for this year, let alone for 2025, at least when it comes to Walt Disney Animation Studios, Marvel Studios, and let's not forget about Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, Pirates of the Caribbean, alright, the last time we saw this movie, of course, when it comes to Disney, was quite a number of years ago. I believe it was 2017, correct me if I'm wrong, when Pirates 5 came to its end, and Pirates 6 was pretty much left open and really put into limbo mode, right? The production of that movie was at a standstill for many years, especially after the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation where Johnny got fired, and then they had a lot of different treatments and drafts being made for Pirates of the Caribbean 6 with Margot Robbie that fell apart, and now you have The Last of Us showrunner Craig Mazin leading the story and creating something new that's going to be considered a soft reboot, so to speak. Well, it gets even worse when it comes to Disney's stand seemingly against the fans and doing anything that they can to tarnish the character of Captain Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp's, of course, legacy. Now, with that being said, of course, with everything that has been going on over at Disney, specifically, generally speaking, when it comes to their live-action movies, I think that this upcoming Pirates reboot is going to be abysmal. There's no doubt about that, but at the same exact time, it's going to be a stretch for Bob Iger. I mean, he himself believes that this is going to be the next big thing. Now, with Bob Iger and the board falling into endless damage control for the many divisions over at Disney that are actively failing to deliver, one crucial development has much to do with the upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean remake that is set to include many different agenda-driven strategies by Bob Iger and the rest over at Disney. One significant update to the story that's being developed right now is how Disney is aiming to turn this into a soft reboot that will not only insert DEI to its maximum, but also it's a film that will be used as a way to throw away Captain Jack Sparrow and throw him into the mud and his legacy that was created by Johnny Depp. As it turns out, part of the story for the upcoming soft reboot is set to establish that the story takes place many decades after the events of the 5th Pirates film, and that Disney is getting ready to address the death of Captain Jack Sparrow to lay down the foundation that the character will never return to the big screen. The main reason why Disney is pushing for this in this script with Craig Mazin, with The Last of Us showrunner there, is that they want to reach the casual Pirates fans that may not know or be aware that Johnny was fired initially and will not be returning for the Pirates of the Caribbean 6 film. Now, Craig Mazin, who is leading the story for Pirates 6, is set to establish a nearly all-female-led Pirates movie with only a small handful of male roles that will establish canon material that Captain Jack Sparrow has passed and died decades ago to move on from the old and to embrace the new. Elements of The Last of Us will also be used in the new Pirates movie, such as apocalyptic settings and zombified pirates in a different way than what was previously done. However, the situation only gets worse behind the scenes, since it was Bob Iger's call to actually have Mazin make last-minute script changes to the story to address Jack Sparrow's death that will only be shortly teased and later snubbed in the upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean movie. As Mazin wants to embrace an all-female-led Pirates film that is now open to becoming an even worse scenario that will actually lead to canon pieces of the first 5 Pirates movies that will get erased and are planned to be rewritten in certain ways so that Disney can rewrite history when it comes to the franchise. That's why this is set to be considered a soft reboot, set in the same setting, however distancing itself at the same time from the core and classic characters entirely, while rewriting parts of history. Iger and Disney's approach to Pirates 5, or should I say 6, is that elements of Indiana Jones 5 will be inserted into the show, and even Craig Mazin admitted the story will be weird. And this is something that surprised him, by the way. that Disney even accepted the script, which is wild. In addition to the death plans for Jack Sparrow, Disney is also planning to tarnish the Black Pearl itself in the upcoming storyline that will be led by Craig Mazin and his recent script, and those changes from both IGER and Mazin came shortly after the backlash started with the film, and they wanted to make sure that they would find the best option to make it clear to everybody that this film is a soft reboot moving away from Jack Sparrow's life. Now guys, let me just stop here. Now, before I get to the next big thing about this is absolutely an attack on fans. Specifically people that grew up with these films. Let alone people that may very well have fond memories of the ride. I mean, how can you forget about that? You know, nobody expected, by the way, when the first Pirates film came out, what was it, like 2005? It was somewhere in the early 2000s, right around there. Nobody really truly expected it to be that successful, and once it dropped, it was a gold mine for Disney. And slowly over time, sure, you know, it did not deliver, you know, film by film. I think that Pirates 3 was the peak in my book. 4 and 5 were kind of lackluster, but still entertaining at best. You know, it didn't have a lot of agenda-driven garbage thrown in there. It wasn't really that time yet. But this scenario with Pirates 6 and their desperate move to address why Captain Jack Sparrow is not going to be in this movie is absolutely unneeded and unnecessary. They don't have to do this. They could have just considered this a 100% remake or something that's going to be completely disconnected from the first 5 films. And my only, you know, assumption coming out of this, why they are considering this a soft reboot, is not to only address that Jack Sparrow has died, and that it is set in the same setting, or universe, whatever you want to call it, but it's also a way for Bob Iger to really play things safe to a degree. They most likely are going to keep some same designs, same cinematography styles, stuff like that, to kind of fit in with the consistency of the first 5 films. I don't think they're going to get Hans Zimmer back. I mean, that's pretty much a no-go at this point, so if you're missing that, that's already a big loss when you don't have Hans Zimmer. But moving on forward, this is where it gets worse. It's unclear if the film has something to do with time travel, but elements of the movie by Mazin are planned to rewrite history of the first 5 Pirates movies that involve Johnny Depp. Iger's plan is to also eventually replace Jack Sparrow at the Disney theme parks around the globe after they establish this movie that has the option of becoming a new trilogy. So the thing about Indiana Jones 5 and how elements of that movie are going to spill into Pirates 6 is why I bring that up. That they may be meddling with time travel. I'm not saying that's a for sure thing, but it's quite possible. What else would they really be driving from Indiana Jones, 5? We've already had the whole fantasy element in there. We've already had the search for ancient relics and stuff like that thrown in there. So I would only assume that this has to do with James Mangold's treatment of Indy 5 with time travel getting thrown into Pirates 6. It also fits with what Craig Mazin said, that he was shocked that Disney even accepted his script because of how weird it is. That's already a terrible sign, by the way, guys. Do you all remember when Nia DaCosta said that The Marvels was like the weirdest and wackiest Marvel movie of all time? Not a good thing. So overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.